Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Hare Krishna Rosanna Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare
Gayatri,
Hare Ram,
Rosie.
Gayatri is not later.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Rama Ram Ram.
Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare,
Ram Ram.
नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमती राधा स्वामी नामिने, नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने, नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य सतारिणे, जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Hare Ram.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram.
Hare Krishna, Raju Prabhu, Samyukta Mataji, Sandhya Mataji, Lalit Mohan Prabhu, Lavanya, Gaurav Prabhu, Akinchan Priya Prabhu, Sapan Prabhu, Deepa Mataji, Danda Pranams. All glory to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining today. We start with Mangalacharna prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jnana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukhaṁ karoti vācālaṁ pangam langāyate ginam yatrapātamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyam Ishwaram. Om Pavitra Pavitro Va Sarvavastam Gatopi Va Yasmare Pundari Kaksham Sabhyabhyam Suchihi. Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu. Thank you very much. So where we stopped is any message there? Let me see. Yesterday, Raju Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, text 19, Prabhuji.
Text 19. Okay,
Yes, Prabhuji.
119.
Happy start.
119. Okay, thank you, Mataji. That is your service target, Samyukta Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
You put it in the group, okay? If, for
Okay,
example,
Prabhuji.
even the repeatedly, if I know, if I put, but you also do. That is your service now. Moving forward, please do not.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Speed database 1.19. 19 and 19. Yeah. Yeah, we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, entitled as Creation, Chapter 19. This is the last chapter of this canto. The appearance of Sukadeva Goswami. The appearance of Sukadeva Goswami. Text 19. Okay. Yeah. We'll begin with Mataji. Deepa Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All the great sages who were assembled there also praised the decision of Maharaja Parikshit, and they expressed their approval by saying, "Very good." Naturally, the sages are inclined to do good to common men, for they have all the qualitative powers of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they were very much pleased to see Maharaja Parikshit, a devotee of the Lord, and they spoke as follows. Purport. The natural beauty of a living being is enhanced by rising up to the platform of devotional service. Maharaja Parikshit was absorbed in attachment of Lord Krishna. Seeing this, the great sages assembled were very pleased, and they expressed their approval by saying, "Very good." Such sages are naturally inclined to do good to the common man, and when they see a personality like Maharaja Parikshit advance in devotion service, their pleasure knows no bounds, and they offer all blessings in their power. The devotional service of the Lord is so auspicious that all demigods and sages, up to the Lord himself, become pleased with the devotee. Therefore, the devotee finds everything auspicious. All inauspicious matters are removed from the path of a progressive devotee. Meeting all the great sages at the time of death was certainly auspicious for Maharaja Parikshit, and thus he was blessed by the so-called curse of a Brahmana's boy. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Text 20. Samyukta Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The sages said, "O chief of all the saintly kings of the Pandu dynasty, who are strictly in the line of Lord Sri Krishna, it is not at all astonishing that you give up your throne, which is decorated with the helmets of many kings, to achieve eternal association with the personality of Godhead." Purport. Foolish politicians who hold political administrative posts think that the temporary post they occupy are the highest material gain of life, and therefore they stick to those posts even up to the last moment of life, without knowing that achievement of liberation as one of the associates of the Lord in his eternal abode is the highest gain of life. The human life is meant for achieving this end. The Lord has assured us in the Bhagavad Gita many times that going back to Godhead, his eternal abode, is the highest achievement. Prahalada Maharaja, while praying to Lord Narasimha, said, "O my Lord, I am very much afraid of the materialistic way of life, and I am not the least afraid of your present ghastly, ferocious feature as Narasimha Deva. This materialistic way of life is something like a grinding stone, and we are being crushed by it. We have fallen into this horrible whirlpool of the tossing waves of life, and thus, my Lord, I pray at your lotus feet to call me back to your eternal abode as one of your servitors. This is the submit liberation of this materialistic way of life. I have very bitter experience of the materialistic way of life. In whichever species of life I have taken birth, compelled by the force of my own activities, I have very painfully experienced two things, namely separation from my beloved and meeting with what is not wanted. And to counteract them, the remedies which I undertook were more dangerous than the disease itself. So I drift from one point to another, birth after birth, and I pray to you, therefore, to give me a shelter at your lotus feet. Hare Krishna.
Completely. It's okay.
Okay, Prabhuji. The Pandava kings, who are more than many saints of the world, knew the bitter results of the materialistic way of life. They were never captivated by the glare of the imperial throne they occupied, and they sought always the opportunity of being called by the Lord to associate with him eternally. Maharaja Parikshit was the worthy grandson of Maharaj Yudhishthira. Maharaj Yudhishthira gave up the imperial throne to his grandson, and similarly, Maharaj Parikshit, the grandson of Maharaj Yudhishthira, gave up the imperial throne to his son Janmejaya. That is the way of all the kings in the dynasty, because they are all strictly in the line of Lord Krishna. Thus, the devotees of the Lord are never enchanted by the glare of materialistic life, and they live impartially, unattached to the objects of the false, illusory, materialistic way of life. Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Okay. Maharaj Parikshit's son name?
Janmejaya.
Janameja. So Maharaj Parikshit's mother name? Father name?
Tara Abhimanyu.
Uttara Abhimanyu. Perfect. Very good. Just small. So here, so this is what it is, Prahlad Maharaj, great devotee of Supreme Lord from Bhagavatam. This is very, very important from Bhagavatam. Prabhupada writes. So only shelter at the lotus feet that can save from this one. The grinding, example is grinding stone, something like materialistic way of life is something like a grinding stone, and we are being crushed by it. We have fallen into this horrible whirlpool of tossing waves of life. Janma, birth after birth, birth after birth. Condition, state after life. But here, thus, my Lord, I pray at your lotus feet to call me back to your eternal abode as one of your servitors. This is the summit liberation of this materialistic way of life. I have very bitter experience of the materialistic way of life, in which our species of life I have taken birth, compelled by the force of my own activities. So how a soul, living entity takes birth in different species? What is the cause? How, how these bodies are getting, according to one's own desires, activities. I have very painfully experienced two things, namely separation from my beloved and meeting with what is not wanted. That means forgetfulness of Krishna and separation from Krishna. And to counteract them, the remedies which I undertook were more dangerous than the disease itself. So I drift from one point to another, birth after birth, and I pray to you, therefore, to give me a shelter at your lotus feet. Very, very important, actually, Only Lord's lotus feet, shelter at the lotus feet of Supreme Lord, can save us from dangers of this materialistic way of life. Grinding stone, grinding stone, how it works, we all know. Anyway, text 21, Sandhya Mataji, can you please read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. We shall all wait here until the foremost devotee of the Lord, Maharaja Parikshit, returns to the supreme planet, which is completely free from all mundane contamination and all kinds of lamentation. Purport. Beyond the limitation of the material creation, which is compared to the cloud in the sky, there is the Paravyoma, or the spiritual sky, full of planets called Vaikunthas. Such Vaikuntha planets are also differently known as the Purushottama Loka, Achyuta Loka, Trivikrama Loka, Hrishikesha Loka, Keshava Loka, Aniruddha Loka, Madhava Loka, Pradyumna Loka, Sankarshana Loka, Shridhara Loka, Vasudeva Loka, Ayodhya Loka, Dwaraka Loka, and many other millions of spiritual lokas where the personality of Godhead predominates. All the living entities, there are liberated souls with spiritual bodies as good as that of the Lord. There is no material contamination. Everything there is spiritual, and therefore there is nothing objectively lamentable. They are full of transcendental bliss and are without birth, death, old age, and disease. And amongst all the above mentioned Vaikuntha Lokas, there is one supreme Loka called Goloka Vrindavana, which is the abode of the Lord Sri Krishna and his specific associates. Maharaja Parikshit was destined to achieve this particular Loka. The great rishis assembled there could foresee this. All of them consulted among themselves about the great departure of the great king, and they wanted to see him up to the last moment because they would no more able to see such a great devotee of the Lord. When a great devotee of the Lord passes away, there is nothing to be lamented because the devotee is destined to enter into the kingdom of God. But the sorry plight is that, and such great devotees leave our sight, and therefore there is every reason to be sorry. As the Lord is rarely to be seen by our present eyes, so also are the great devotees. The great rishis therefore correctly decided to remain on the spot till the last moment.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very nice. Yeah. So actually, let me put this way, this document. Let me put it in advanced view. We need, anyway, we are not reading this one. No? 1921. Okay, so now let me put this way, and I'll show this. Devanagari, verse text, synonyms also not going. Translation and purport, right? Yes. Translation and purport is. Let us put this way. So now we are at 23. Yes, we have done this one, 22. Thank you, Mataji, again. So now Radhika Mataji, can you please read text 22?
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat.
Run out now.
Text 22. Translation. All that was spoken by the great sages was very sweet to hear, full of meaning and appropriately presented as perfectly true. So after hearing them, Maharaj Parikshit, desiring to hear of the activities of Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, congratulated the great sages.
You can read this
Okay.
translation, text 20 translation.
Text 23. Translation. The king said, O great sages, you have all very kindly assembled here, having come from all parts of the universe. You are all as good as supreme knowledge personified, who resides in the planet above three worlds, Satyaloka. Consequently, you are naturally inclined to do good to others, and but for this, you have no interest either in this life or in the next. Purport.
Yeah.
6 kinds of opulences, namely wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation, are all originally the different attributes pertaining to the absolute personality of Godhead. The living beings who are part and parcel entities of the Supreme Being have all these attributes partially up to the full strength of 78%. In the material world, these attributes up to 78% of the Lord's attributes are covered by the material energy, as the sun is covered by a cloud. The covered strength of the sun is very dim compared to the original glare, and similarly the original color of the living beings. With such attributes becomes almost extinct. There are 3 planetary systems, namely the lower worlds, the intermediate worlds, and the upper worlds. The human beings on Earth are situated at the beginning of the intermediate worlds, but living beings like Brahma and his contemporaries live in the upper worlds, of which the topmost is Satyaloka. In Satyaloka, the inhabitants are fully cognizant of the Vedic wisdom, and thus the mystic cloud of material energy is cleared. Therefore, they are known as the Vedas personified. Such persons, being fully aware of knowledge, both mundane and transcendental, have no interest in either the mundane or transcendental worlds. They are practically desireless devotees. In the mundane world, they have nothing to achieve, and in the transcendental world, they are full in themselves. Then why do they come to the mundane world? They descend to different planets as how do we pronounce this?
Messiah.
Messiah.
By the order of the Lord to deliver the fallen souls. On the earth, they come down and do good to the people of the world in different circumstances under different climatic influences. They have nothing to do in this world save and except reclaim the fallen souls rotting in material existence, deluded by material energy. Hari Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Lavanya, one read. 24.
Hare Krishna. 24. O trustworthy Brahmanas, I now ask you about my immediate duty. Please, after proper deliberation, tell me of the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances, and specially of those who are just about to die. Purport. By Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Purport. In this world, the king has placed two questions before the learned sages. The first question is, what is the duty of everyone in all circumstances? And the second question is, what is the specific duty of one who is to die very shortly? Out of the two, the question related to the dying man is most important because everyone is a dying man, either very shortly or after 100 years. The duration of life is immaterial, but the duty of dying man is very important. Maharaj Parikshit placed these two questions before Sukadeva Goswami also on his arrival, and practically the whole of the Srimad Bhagavatam, beginning from the second canto up to the last canto, 12th canto, deals these two questions. The conclusion arrived at thereof is that devotional service of the Lord Krishna is confirmed by the Lord himself in the last pages of Bhagavad Gita, is the last word in relation to everyone's permanent duty in life. Maharaj Parikshit was already aware of this fact, but he wanted the great sages assembled there to unanimously give their verdict on this conviction, so that he might be able to go on with his confirmed duty without controversy. He has especially mentioned the word Shuddha or perfectly correct. For transcendental realization or self-realization, many processes are recommended by various classes of philosophers. Some of them are first-class methods and some of them are second class, some of them are third class. The first-class method demands that one give up all other methods and surrender onto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and thus he be saved from all sins and their reactions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Prabhuji, what is the conclusive teachings of Bhagavad Gita?
Sarva dharman parityajya.
Devotional service to the Lord Krishna.
Surrender to Krishna and serve Krishna. Thank you. Text 25 now, Prabhu's. Sapan Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Translation. At the moment, there appeared the powerful son of Vyasadeva, who traveled over the earth disinterested and satisfied with himself. He did not manifest any symptoms of belonging to any social order or status of life. He was surrounded with women and children, and he dressed up as if others had neglected him. But the word Bhagwan is sometimes used in relation with some of the great devotees of the Lord, like Sukadeva Goswami. Such liberated souls are disinterested in the affairs of this material world because they are self-satisfied by the great achievements of devotional service. As explained before, Sukadeva Goswami never accepted any formal spiritual master, nor did he undergo any formal reformatory performances. His father Vyasadeva was his natural spiritual master because Sukadeva Goswami heard Srimad Bhagavatam from him. After this, he became completely self-satisfied. Thus, he was not dependent on any formal process. The formal processes are necessary for those who are expected to reach the state of complete liberation. But Sukadeva Goswami was already in that status by the grace of his father. As a young boy, he was expected to be properly dressed, but he went about naked and was uninterested in social customs. He was neglected by the general populace, and inquisitive boys and women surrounded him as if he were a madman. Thus, he appeared on the scene while traveling on the earth of his own accord. It appears that upon the inquiry of Maharaj Parikshit, the great sages were not unanimous in their decision as to what was to be done. For spiritual salvation, there were many prescriptions according to different modes of different persons. But the ultimate aim of life is to attain the highest perfectional stage of devotional service to the Lord. As doctors differ, so also sages differ in their prescriptions. Such things were going on. The great and powerful son of Vyasadeva appeared on the scene. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Any verse? Anybody remembering while reading this? Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam?
Naumidiyate, Arena.
No, that is now immediately explaining about the beauty of Krishna. Okay, you can think. Lastly, you can discuss. Highest perfection stage of devotional service to the Lord. Ultimate aim of life is to attain the highest perfection stage of devotional service to the Lord. This some particular verse is there. Okay, anyway, continue. Raja Prabhu, can you please read? Text 26.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. 26 translation. This son of Vyasadeva was only 16 years old. His legs, hands, thighs, arms, shoulders, forehead, and the other parts of his body were all delicately formed. His eyes were beautifully wide, and his nose and ears were highly raised. He had a very attractive face, and his neck was well formed and beautiful like a conch shell. Purport. A respectable personality is described beginning with the legs, and this honored system is observed observed here with the Sukadeva Goswami. He was only 16 years of age. A person is honored for his achievements and not for advanced age. A person can be older by experience and not by age. Sri Sukadeva Goswami, who is described here in the son of Vyasadeva, was his knowledge more experienced in all the stages present there, although he was only 16 years old. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Gaurav Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu, for joining.
His collarbone, thanks to you, Prabhuji. His collarbone was fleshy, his chest broad and thick, his navel deep, and his abdomen beautifully striped. His arms were long, and curly hair was strewn over his beautiful face. He was naked, and the hue of his body reflected that of Lord Krishna. Purport. His bodily features indicate him to be different from common man. All the signs described in connection with the bodily features of Sukadeva Goswami are uncommon symptoms typical of great personalities according to physiognomical calculation. His bodily hue resembled that of Lord Krishna, who is supreme among the lords, demigods, and all living beings. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Let me see. Akinchan Prabhu.
Yeah, bro. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Text 28.
Translation and purport by Sri.
809. 2.
Yes, bro. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He was blackish and very beautiful due to his youth. Because of the glamour of his body and his attractive smile, he was pleasing to women. Though he tried to cover his natural glories, the great sages present there were all expert in the art of physiognomy, and so they honored him by rising from their seats. Text 29. Maharaj Parikshit, who was also known as Vishnu Ratha, one who is always protected by Vishnu, bowed his head to receive the chief guest, Sukadeva Goswami. At that time, all the ignorant women and boys ceased following Srila Sukadeva. Received respect from all, Sukadeva Goswami took his exalted seat. Yeah, on the Sukadeva Goswami arrival at the meeting, everyone except Srila Vyasadeva, Narada, and few others stood up, and Maharaj Parikshit, who was glad to receive a great devotee of the Lord, bowed down before him with all the limbs of his body. Sukadeva Goswami also exchanged the greetings and the reception by embrace, shaking of the hands, nodding and bowing down, especially before his father and Narada Muni. Thus he was offered the presidential seat at the meeting. When he was so received by the king and the sages, the street boys and the less intelligent women who followed him were stuck with wonder and fear. So they retired from their frivolous activities, and everything was full of gravity and calm. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Your question we'll discuss in the last one. I think everybody is done, huh? Except Laitman Prabhu. Yeah. Laitman Prabhu, can you please read?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, text 30. Translation. Sukadeva Goswami was then surrounded by saintly sages and demigods, just as the moon is surrounded by stars, planets, and other heavenly bodies. His presence was gorgeous, and he was respected by all. Purport. In the great assembly of saintly personalities, there was Vyasadeva, the Brahmarshi, Narada, the Devarshi, Parshurama, the great ruler of Kshatriya kings, etc. Some of them were powerful incarnations of the Lord. Sukadeva Goswami was not known as Brahmarshi, Rajarshi, or Devarshi, nor was he an incarnation like Narada, Vyasa, or Parshurama, and yet he excelled them in respects paid. This means that the devotee of the Lord is more honored in the world than the Lord himself. One should therefore never minimize the importance of a devotee like Sukadeva Goswami. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Let me read this one. Text 31, translation and purport by Abhichanaranda Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The sage Sri Sukadeva Goswami sat perfectly pacified, intelligent, and ready to answer any question without hesitation. The great devotee Maharaja Parikshit approached him, offered his respects by bowing before him, and politely inquired with sweet words and folded hands. That is the humility one has to, in order to understand topics of, devotional. Purport. The gesture now adopted by Maharaja Parikshit of questioning a master is quite befitting in terms of scriptural injunctions. The scriptural injunction is that one should humbly approach a spiritual master to understand the transcendental science. Maharaja Parikshit was now prepared for meeting his death, and within the very short time of 7 days, he was to know the process of entering the kingdom of God. In such important cases, one is required to approach a spiritual master. There is no necessity of approaching a spiritual master unless one is in need of solving the problems of life. One who does not know how to put questions before the spiritual master has no business seeing him. And the qualification of the spiritual master is perfectly manifested in the person of Sukadeva Goswami. Both the spiritual master and the disciple, namely Sri Sukadeva Goswami and Maharaja Parikshit, attained perfection through the medium of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sukadeva Goswami learned Srimad Bhagavatam from his father Vyasadeva, but he had no chance to recite it. Before Maharaja Parikshit, he recited Srimad Bhagavatam and answered the questions of Maharaja Parikshit unhesitatingly, and thus both the master and the disciple got salvation. So that means here two things: hearer and listener. Listener and what do we say the other one?
Reciter, speaker.
Reciter and hearer.
Shravanam, Kirtanam.
Both are gets benefited. Yes, thank you, Anya. Yes, now. So 8-7, another 5 to 10 minutes. Let us see. And then your question, let us spend a couple of minutes at the end. Again, Mata is done. Text 32, Deepa Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The fortunate King Parikshit said, O Brahmana, by your mercy only you have sanctified us, making us like unto the place of pilgrimage, all by your presence here as my guest. By your mercy, we, who are but unworthy royalty, become eligible to serve the devotee. Purport. Saintly devotees like Shukdev Goswami generally do not approach worldly enjoyers, especially those in royal orders. Maharaja Prataparudra was a follower of Lord Chaitanya, but when he wanted to see the Lord refused to see him because he was a king. For a devotee who desires to go back to Godhead, two things are strictly prohibited: worldly enjoyers and women. Therefore, devotees of the standard of Shukdev Goswami are never interested in seeing kings. Maharaja Parikshit was, of course, a different case. He was a great devotee. although a king, and therefore Shukdev Goswami came to see him in his last stage of life. Maharaja Parikshit, out of his devotional humility, felt himself an unworthy descendant of his great Kshatriya forefathers, although he was great as his predecessors. The unworthy sons of the royal order are called Kshatriya Bandhavas, as the unworthy sons of the Brahmanas are called Dvija Bandhus or Brahma Bandhus. Maharaja Parikshit was greatly encouraged by the presence of Shukdev Goswami. He felt himself sanctified by the presence of the great saint, whose presence turns any place into a place of pilgrimage. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So this is the thing. Wherever we discuss about the pastimes of Lord, that is going to be a place that is a Vrindavan, that is Prabhupada writes in his purpose. In a ISKCON temple, wherever, glorifying Krishna, it is a dham. No difference actually. Glorifying Krishna, wherever we are situated. America, Africa, Europe, India, anywhere, wherever we glorifying Supreme Lord, it's going to be a dham. Yes. Samyukta Mataji. Let us stop with Mataji's only. Let us see. Read Mataji, text 33.
Translation. Simply by our remembering you, our houses become instantly sanctified. And what to speak of seeing you, touching you, washing your holy feet, and offering you a seat in our home. Purport. The importance of holy places of pilgrimage is due to the presence of great sages and saints. It is said that sinful persons go to the holy places and leave their sins there to accumulate. But the presence of the great saints disinfects the accumulated sins, and thus the holy places continue to remain sanctified by the grace of the devotees and saints present there. If such saints appear in the homes of worldly people, certainly the accumulated sins of such worldly enjoyers become neutralized. Therefore, the holy saints actually have no self-interest with the householders. The only aim of such saints is to sanctify the houses of the householders, and the householders therefore should feel grateful when such saints and sages appear at their doors. A householder who dishonors such holy orders is a great offender. It is enjoined, therefore, that a householder who does not bow down before a saint at once must undergo fasting for the day in order to neutralize the great offense. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Sandhya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Text 34, translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Just as the atheist cannot remain in the presence of the personality of Godhead, so also the invulnerable sins of a man are immediately vanquished in your presence, O saint, O great mystic. Purport. There are two classes of human beings, namely the atheist and the devotee of the Lord. The devotee of the Lord, because of manifesting godly qualities, is called a demigod, whereas the atheist is called a demon. The demon cannot stand the presence of Vishnu, the personality of Godhead. The demons are always busy in trying to vanquish the personality of Godhead, but factually, as soon as the personality of Godhead appears, by either his transcendental name, form, attributes, pastimes, paraphernalia, or variegatedness, the demon is at once vanquished. It is said that a ghost cannot remain as soon as the holy name of the Lord is chanted. The great saints and devotees of the Lord are in the list of his paraphernalia, and thus, as soon as a saintly devotee is present, the ghostly sins are at once vanquished. That is the verdict of all literatures. One is recommended, therefore, to associate only with the saintly devotees, so that worldly demons, and ghosts cannot exert their sinister influence.
Sinister influence.
Thank
you,
you.
Mataji. Thank you. Sandhya Mataji. Radhika Mataji, then Lavanya Mataji. Radhika Mataji, can you please read 35 and 36? Lavanya,
Yeah.
we'll start with that. Okay. 35, please read.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is very dear to the sons of King Pandu, has accepted me as one of those relatives just to please his great cousins and brothers. Purport. A pure and exclusive devotee of the Lord, serves his family interest more dexterously than others who are attached to illusory family affairs. Generally, people are attached to family matters, and the whole economic impetus of human society is moving under the influence of family affection. Such deluded persons have no information that one can render better service to the family by becoming a devotee of the Lord. The Lord gives special protection to the family members and descendants of a devotee, even though such members are themselves non devotees. Maharaj Parikshit was a great devotee of the Lord, but his path. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Maharaj Prahlad was a.
Parikshit is also great devotee nowadays.
Yeah. Hiranyakashipu was a great atheist and declared enemy of the Lord. But despite all this, Hiranyakashipu was awarded salvation due to his being the father of Maharaj Prahlad. The Lord is so kind that he gives all protection to the family members of his devotee, and this devotee has no need to bother about his family members, even if one leaves such family members aside to discharge devotional service. Maharaj Yudhishthir and his brothers were the sons of Kunti, the paternal aunt of Lord Krishna, and Maharaj Parikshit admits the patronage of Lord Krishna because of his being the only grandson of the great Pandavas. Haribol.
Thank you, Mataji. I think somebody joined. Let me see. Chandravel Prabhu. Okay. So after Lavanya, you can read. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So better Lavanya, let him read. Okay. Text 36. Then we can have one question is there. Let us discuss and go to Sloka recitation. Okay. Lavanya. Yeah. No, Chandravel Prabhu. Text 36.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Otherwise, without being inspired by Lord Krishna, how is it that you have voluntarily appeared here, though you are moving incognito to the common man and are not visible to us who are on the verge of death? Purport. The great sage Sukadeva Goswami was certainly inspired by Lord Krishna to appear voluntarily before Maharaj Parikshit, the great devotee of the Lord, just to give him the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. One can achieve the nucleus of the devotional service of the Lord by the mercy of the supreme spiritual master and the personality of Godhead. The spiritual master is the manifested representative of the Lord to help one achieve ultimate success. One who is not authorized by the Lord cannot become a spiritual master. Srila Sukadeva Goswami is an authorized spiritual master, and thus he was inspired by the Lord to appear before Maharaj Parikshit and instruct him in the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. One can achieve the ultimate success of going back to Godhead if he is favored by Lord sending his true representative. As soon as a true representative of the Lord is met by a devotee of the Lord, the devotee is issued a guarantee of going back to Godhead just after leaving the present body. This, however, depends on the sincerity of the devotee himself. The Lord is seated in the heart of all living beings, and thus he knows very well the moments of all individual persons. As soon as the Lord finds that a particular soul is very eager to go back to the Godhead, the Lord at once sends him bona fide representative. The sincere devotee is thus assured by the Lord for going back to Godhead. The conclusion is that to get the assistance and help of a bona fide spiritual master means to receive the direct help of the Lord himself. Hare Krishna.
Hare super statement. It's in italics words, no?
Yeah,
italic words.
To receive the direct help of the Lord himself.
My conclusion is that to get the assistance and help of a bona fide spiritual means receive the direct help of the Lord himself. Vande Guru Shri Charana. I think how many? 40 verses, 3 verses there, no? I think. So 37, 38, 39, 40. We'll continue tomorrow. Prabhuji.
Anything is fine, Professor. Otherwise, we'll complete by today itself.
Hare Krishna.
I think Prabhuji's voice is not audible.
Hare
Grace
Krishna,
Prabhu,
Giriraj Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I think there is some internet connection problem. These days we are having better connection than in US.
Yeah, we will finish, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Wait.
One second, one
yeah,
second.
he's back.
So, problem here actually sometimes I don't know. Let me, anyway, I'm reading that question. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
probably.
yes.
See, actually, can anybody read because it's gone that internet issue.
Yes, Prabhuji. Shall I read 37, Prabhu? It's 38 right now.
38,
No,
yes.
the question, anyway, we'll read tomorrow. We'll complete tomorrow.
Okay.
So that question posted by Radhika Mataji, I'm not able to see because it's reconnected.
What is the
I'll
question?
I'll read,
Yeah.
Prabhuji.
Yeah, read, Prabhu, Raj Prabhu, read.
Hare Krishna. I have this question though. I am not sure if it is correct. Though being the son of Vyasadeva, Sukadeva Goswami, after coming out of the womb of his mother, ran into the forest and meditated upon the impersonal feature of the Lord. It was only when Vyasadeva sent his disciple to recite 3 verses from Bhagavatam when he came and heard from his father. If you could throw some light on this. Did you understand the question?
Yeah. Can you paste Prabhu again?
Yeah, please repaste the.
Posting then.
Can somebody do? I cannot copy.
Just copy and paste it. Please. Yeah, Radhika Mata shared it.
Three verses. When Vyasdeva sent his disciples to recite 3 verses from Bhagavatam when he came and heard from his father.
3 verses.
It was only when Vyasdeva sent his disciples to recite 3 verses from Bhagavatam when he came and heard from his father. If you would happen. I'm not sure actually. Anybody knows? Prabhu Lila Mana. Prabhu.
Yeah, as far as what I know is this 2 verses, Prabhuji. One is that, the features, the bodily features of the Lord, like our very big shloka is there, in 10th canto. We have recited that tune also in 2 tunes. Barhapidam. That is the first shloka. The second one is Ahobakya. So these are the 2 shlokas which, Vyasdev made his disciples recite in front of this meditating Sukadev Goswami. And after listening those 2 verses, he ran away. He ran to those people. And those people guided him what it is actually, where it is from, which scripture it is from. Then he came into the bhakti fold. Earlier, he was impersonalist. Doing meditation. Yeah, purely. Right after his birth, he ran away. And he was doing meditation and all. So Vyasdev didn't like it. And of course, he is following one part of the Vedas only, which Vyasdev himself written. But after Vyasdev compiling this Bhagavatam and all, his mind changed. So he has some kind of regret that why my son would be like an impersonalist. I would want him to become a devotee. So he devised a plan in which he sent 2 of his main disciples as a forest woodcutters. Okay. And they were cutting their woods in front of this Sukadev Goswami, who was meditating on impersonal Brahman. And they were reciting these shlokas. And after listening to the first shloka, he was completely mad. And after the second shloka, he ran away. He ran to those people. And those people, they have taken him to the Vyasdeva's ashram. Then he listened this whole Srimad Bhagavatam from Vyasdev himself. The moment he listened this Bhagavatam, he became a pure devotee and He has this ability to grasp it properly and understand it properly and recite it very high in a very good way. So that is how he was chosen rather than Vyasdev.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Actually, what I meant is that when he was in the womb, he was not ready to come out, and Krishna himself came
Yes.
so that he can be ensured that he will not be entrapped. But then, how come he became like an impersonalist then? Because Krishna himself came, right?
So what, Mataji? Krishna is with many of other devotees also in Mahabharata. Mataji,
Yeah.
Krishna will not guarantee bhakti.
Okay.
Let me put it like this. Krishna will never force bhakti nor guarantee bhakti. Bhakti is an our individual owns effort, which we should keep. Of course, mercy is required, or mercy of the other devotees and all is required. But Sukadeva Goswami's past is what we should understand. He was from Satyuga age actually, and his past, he is a pure sadhu. No? What is his past? Actually, I forgot. Anyone remember his past? There's a story of Sukadeva Goswami also. How he was a this one.
Suka parrot?
He was in a Jnana Mishra something, Mataji. Sukha parrot, Mataji, yes, but someone beheaded him, na? Something like that
Shiva.
happened actually. Yeah. No.
I know the
So
only
he
the
was in
Suka
Jnana
parrot.
Mishra path, Mataji. And he was not a devotee in his previous life. In this life, because of Vyasdev's mercy, he became a devotee. Radhika Mataji understood, na?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I got it.
Yeah. Krishna wanted to, personally have wanted to change the Duryodhana's mind. But it is the free will of Duryodhana not to change. So Krishna didn't alter it. Krishna says, let it be. So bhakti is different, Mataji. It's not that if we have association of Krishna, we will get bhakti. No, it's not like that. In turn, why Krishna is very happy with his devotees? Because devotees can go and interrupt your free will, but not Krishna. They will
Okay,
come into space of your free will and they'll change. That is what devotees are mean. Sorry, Mataji, now I'll cut it to here.
Yeah,
It will be more of a philosophic topic than informative. Okay, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sometimes, these topics, even there is a great devotee, Parikshit Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami is great. Sometimes what happens, we are always saying this, we are always thinking in our materialistic brain. I mean, sometimes we won't understand the inconceivable nature of the Supreme Lord. And we are either material brain or material intelligence thinking in that way within our own how it's going to be. It's will of the Lord sometimes, just to understand it's a will of the Lord. It has to be done like that. He initially he was like that, but the later after understanding from Vasudeva, then that's the thing. So it appears like, but ultimately pure devotee can teach pure bhakti. That's the thing. Okay, so we always have to be in the, of course, the questions also needs to be there, but that's the problem with our material brain. We always think in certain, there is beyond. This is one understanding. We are guessing or understand with our limited brain, with the unlimited aspect of Krishna and in his pastimes and in his dealings and in his various things, how different pastimes. If you see Parikshit Maharaj, how he's a great devotee of Supreme Lord. Why that, why he has to put that, he has to control his anger. He's not, he didn't receive any proper, welcome and this thing in the hermitage of Shamik Rishi. So and he put the dead snake The great devotee of the Lord. Krishna's personal intervention is there, in the Uttara Swami. Krishna saved personally from the Brahma Sadapa. So it appears like that. It's a will of Krishna has to play. Basically, Krishna has to. So he's a play. Jagannataka Sutradhara. That's the thing. So you would understand. If there is a purpose behind it. Otherwise, there is no question of Bhagavatam recitation. That's the thing. Okay. So I've just shared a Sloka recitation. I don't know how many of you can able to decide. Can you able to spend 15 minutes for recitation of this? Queen Kunti prayers. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, please do it 39. 1839.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I will be listening more. Okay. Ram Reddy Prabhu. Sure, Prabhu. 39. Okay. How many verses there, Prabhuji? I think till 43. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Prabhu, Raju Prabhu. Thank you. Let us practice for whatever time we can be able to do.
Okay. Let them go with. Yes, Mataji.
I have one request, Prabhuji. Can you like kind of summarize from starting till now? What was the progression? What did Maharani speak about? Is it possible?
Okay.
Like step by step, each dance aim covered chesaru. What is the important thing you need to remember?
Sure, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. So, Prabhu, can you please keep that chart? All the slokas together. It was there.
Which chart, Prabhu?
That slide where all the slokas put together.
12 slokas put together. Me chesa ka Prabhuji apno adi.
Yeah. You there now?
Yeah. Thank you. So it is said from Mataji, the first 8 shlokas, no? Namasye, Maya Javanika Channam, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, till 25. 24, it is like a glorification of Lord. Namasye. Okay. How you have come, what you have done, how people recognize you, like Krishnaya Vasudeva, Devaki Nandanachi, Nandagopkamare, Govindaya Namanam. Namo Namaha means again, Namaha to you. Namaha Pankajanabhaya. Again, what to say? This obeisances. So all these 4 to 5, 6 shlokas, till 22, it is like Namasya. Till 22, it is like Namasya. And 23 to 24, gratitude. How you have helped them and how you have helped us. Okay. And 25 is a complete twisting one. Like, let all these calamities again come and come, Krishna, again and again come, so that we might remember you. Okay. And from 25, 26 and 27 is, see, who is most eligible to pray for you. And 27, 28 is like, what to say, how you are there and not there also, and how a common man cannot understand you. And after that, he will come. Some say you have taken birth for this, some say you have taken birth for that, and all. And at later, the 36 and 37, those are like what I wanted to convey you. Okay. Now we are at that stage. What I wanted to convey you. But just before passing on that message to Krishna, she will glorify first, and then she will say that how people recognize you and what all things and who is eligible for you to pray, And lastly, you know, how different people say about you, why you appeared, and after that, but actually you have appeared because to revive bhakti, and after that she will pass her message. Okay, now we are at passing of her message to Krishna.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Understood anything, Mataji, or more confused?
No, Prabhuji. Got it.
There might be a bit confusion because I am not prepared for this question properly. So
Yeah, no problem. Can you, if you can cover tomorrow properly, like?
Yeah. I'll come systematically by writing down the things, Mataji. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
I'll keep, because I didn't have my notes now, just to flip it out and come to you.
No, it is my, no, it's a selfish motive because actually we have the exam on Saturday and Queen Kunti's whole 18 to 43, they want us to write as a flow chart. So when you tell, there is a tendency to remember it well. That's the reason why I'm asking.
No, yes, that is what, you know, discussions mainly because of. We are discussing, Mataji. Okay, yeah. But then I will just give you with the flow chart. Okay, not flow chart. All the shlokas. I'll just
all the shlokas. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll just
step by step, like how it's going. Yeah, actually, there is one in the Subodhini. There is one. I will post that picture. It gives the flow chart from only. If you can little elaborate on that in a way that I will try to remember.
Sure, Mataji. We will do it.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, it's already 9:05. So what devotees want me to do? Haribol?
Prabhuji, yeah, it's your call. Not sure.
Yeah, we will go ahead with one more shloka, Prabhu, then. We will recite it today. Tomorrow we'll go with synonyms and all. After, you know, explaining the flow chart, we will go with the synonyms and all. Okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Please repeat after me. No tongue twisters here. So everyone can recite this with me. Okay? Neyam shobhishyate tatra yathe danim gadadara.
Neyam shobhishyate tatra yate danam gadadara.
Neyam shobhishyate tatra yathe danim gadadara.
Neyam shobhishyate tatra yate danam gadadara.
Neyam shobhishyate tatra yathe danim gadadara.
Neyam shobhishyate tatra yate danim gadadara.
Neyam shobhishyate tatra yathe danim gadadara.
Neyam shobhishyate tatra yate danim gadadara.
Tvatpadairankita bhati swalakshana vilakshitaiः.
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 Neyam shobhishyate tatra yathe danim gadadara. Tvatpadairankita bhati swalakshana vilakshitaiः.
Neyam shobhishyate tatra yate danim gadadara. Tvatpadairankita bhati swalakshana vilakshitaiः.
Neyam shobhishyate tatra yathe danim gadadara. Tvatpadairankita bhati स्वलक्षणा विलक्षितैः
नेयं
इदानीं गदाधरा
पदायैरङ्किते भाति लक्षणा विलक्षितैः
नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यथेदानीं गदाधर त्वत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणा विलक्षितैः
नेयं
शोभिष्यते
Okay, so now you can go for the individual practice if you can do. Okay. Hare Krishna. Are you ready, or we will do it tomorrow?
Whoever can be able to do it, and then we can Baba.
नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यथा यथेदानीं गदाधर त्वत्पदादिरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणा विलक्षितैः
नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यत्तादानीं गदाधरा त्वत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणा विलासितै
नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यथेदानीं गदाधरा त्वत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणा विलक्षितैः हरे कृष्ण
नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यतेदानीं गदाधरा त्वत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणा विलक्षितैः. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यतेदानीं गदाधरा त्वत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणा विलक्षितैः
नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यतेदानीं गदाधरा त्वत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणा विलक्षितैः.
Thank you. Radhika Mother.
हरे कृष्ण नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यथेदानीं गदाधर त्वत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणा विलक्षितैः.
Nice. Let me do. I think all Prabhu's done now.
Prabhu, I can do it now, bro.
Acha, Ram Reddy Prabhu appeared again. Haribol, do it, Prabhu.
Sorry, Prabhu, I'm outside, so yeah. Neyam shobhishyate tatra yata danim gadadara tvatpadair ankita bhati swalakshana vilakshitai. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 8th chapter, 39th verse. Neyam sobhishyate tatra yate danim gadadhara tvatpadair ankita bhati swalakshana vilakshitai. Translation by Sloka. O Gadadhara, Krishna, our kingdom is now being marked by the impressions of your feet, and therefore it appears beautiful. But when you leave it, it will no longer be so. Feeling little bit sorrow in her mind, Kunti Devi's mind. We'll continue tomorrow. Thank you so much for reading and chanting and hearing on Sloka recitation. Thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnava vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada translated book reading ki jai. Nitai Gaur Hari Premanande Hari Hari. Thank you so much. See you all tomorrow. Dandavad Pranam. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much.